Last week, we restarted the 8 Skills of Mindfulness series that we touched on last year. Well, not touched on, it was a 16-week course, but anyway, I'm revamping them. These are going to be condensed from the originals into one video for each of the 8 skills and one video each week. And there's intention to that. Don't just rush through these practices and skills. Spend time to learn each one, and when you do, you will learn about yourself too. But back when the series first came out, we only had about 100 community members, maybe, and now we are over 5,000. And my recording skills were pretty subpar, and my confidence was low. So now, with better lighting, angles, and clarity, we are going to give these another go because they are the foundation of everything we talk about here at the Torches channel. We started last week with skill number 1, awareness, and we talked about how practicing awareness disrupts our autopilot so we can live more intentionally and fully. This week, we are going to see how compassion disrupts our impulse to act on our automatic judgments about ourselves and others by inviting us to pause, understand, and respond with care. Hello, and welcome to Torches, Yoga and Mindfulness. If you're new here, I'm Lauren, and I'll be your coach. If you're curious about mindfulness, healing, and practical habits that actually work, you're in the right place because here we focus on simple but powerful practices grounded in ancient wisdom and modern science to care for both our brains and bodies. So make sure you hit the like and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Compassion is our innate ability to understand and be motivated to alleviate the suffering in ourselves and others when we understand our interbeing. So often, compassion and empathy are talked about in the same sentence, like they're interchangeable, but they're really not the same. Empathy means we feel the suffering with another. Compassion takes it a step further, and we want to act to alleviate that suffering. And unlike empathy alone, compassion actually protects us from emotional burnout. It helps us care without carrying someone else's pain as our own. This is the power of mindfulness-based compassion. It keeps us connected without draining our reserves. And sympathy is something else entirely. Sympathy is where we see the suffering of another, and we are probably distancing ourselves because their struggle makes us uncomfortable, and we are only inclined to help out of pity. Compassion isn't just a feeling, it's something more active. According to research from Dr. Paul Gilbert and others in compassion-focused therapy, compassion includes 5 essential components. Awareness of suffering, so we are noticing the pain in ourselves or others. Feeling emotionally moved, that's when we allow ourselves to be touched by that suffering. Understanding that suffering is a part of the shared human experience. We recognize that all who have breathed have faced or will face suffering at some point or another. Then there's tolerating uncomfortable feelings. This is when we stay present without needing to avoid, fix, or rush past discomfort. And finally, component number 5, taking actions to alleviate or prevent suffering, which might look like offering kind words or just simply being present. And compassion isn't just a feel-good concept, it's biological. When we practice compassion, our brain lights up in regions associated with with emotional regulation and empathy. And what is even more amazing, whether we witness compassion or receive it, our brain responds. So every small act of kindness ripples outward. Compassion in community is about more than just a kind gesture. It's about holding space. It means recognizing that the person in front of us is just like us, has their own struggles, grief, frustration, fear, and pain. And instead of looking at them with judgment, we begin to see their suffering as a part of the shared human experience. Compassionate presence ripples outward. When we meet someone with compassion, it shifts the energy between us. It opens space for connection and understanding. And when we show up with this energy regularly, we become part of creating more compassionate culture, one interaction at a time. Daily acts of kindness like holding the door for another patron or letting someone with fewer items cut you in line at the store are wonderful ways to plant seeds of compassion. But I have some powerful practices that I think you will find very impactful. Practicing compassion with others can be as simple as actively listening when someone speaks to you. I invite you to bring compassionate, active listening to your interactions this week with your friends, your loved ones, or family, coworkers. When you're in a conversation, instead of planning what you want to say or waiting for the other person to stop talking so you can start, silently remind yourself, this person, just like me, wants to be heard. Just like me, they want to be understood. And notice if this approach brings any change to the dynamic. Maybe you feel more relaxed, more present, and maybe the conversation flows a little differently. And of course, to be able to extend compassion to others, we first must practice it with ourselves. Awareness taught us to notice our thoughts, emotions, and patterns without judgment. But noticing without kindness can leave us feeling detached from ourselves or our experiences. Bringing in compassion allows us to respond to what we notice with care. When we notice a hurt in ourselves, when we get activated by a stressful encounter, if we take a pause to just notice and not analyze, not try to fix, just sit with the upset, we give the thoughts and emotions space to move on quicker instead of identifying with them. A great practice we always have available to us is compassionate self-touch. When emotions feel heavy and consuming, place a gentle hand over your chest, your heart, your abdomen, on your face. Maybe it feels nice to give yourself a hug. Compassionate self-touch can look like many different things, and there is no wrong way as long as you feel comfortable and connected. We can add an extra dose of compassion by saying to ourselves, internally or quietly, just some simple words of encouragement and reassurance. I can choose to be kind to myself. These emotions are welcome part of this experience. This simple gesture, a compassionate touch paired with a few kind words from ourselves, activates our body's calming system. It tells our nervous system, it's okay, we're safe now. Another wonderful practice we can use to practice self-compassion is with micro loving kindness pause. And we can do it almost anywhere. While you're doing chores, sitting in traffic, waiting in line. Take a deep breath and silently say, may I be kind to myself in this moment? May I give myself the care I need? This isn't about forcing positivity, it's about gently redirecting our inner voice towards kindness. And studies show that even brief, loving kindness practices like this can reduce reactivity and increase our emotional resilience. And the final practice I have for us to cultivate self compassion today is the good enough practice. We live in a culture that celebrates doing more, being better, and pushing harder. But compassion says, what if what I did today was enough? So the practice is at the end of your day, instead of asking, did I get everything done? Ask yourself, did I show up as best I could today? If the answer is yes, even if it's a doubtful yes, place a hand over your heart and say, we've done enough. We don't have to chase perfection, and compassion creates space for growth without burnout. When we cultivate compassion within ourselves, we naturally begin to offer it more freely to others because when we learn to witness our own pain without judgment, it becomes easier to see others through that same gentle lens. Before you go, take one more quick moment with me for a compassion practice you can take with you throughout the rest of your day. If you're in a safe space to do so, close your eyes or just soften your gaze and bring your attention inward. Take a deep breath in and exhale slowly. Bring to mind someone you care about, yourself, someone you love, or someone who has been having a hard time. Silently say, may you be kind to yourself in this moment. May you feel supported and safe. May you know that you are not alone. Take another breath in, and on your exhale, imagine sending that wish out like a ripple into your day, your home, and your community. Let this be the practice, friend, to meet yourself and the world with gentle awareness and a desire to care. All right, friend, that's it. You can open your eyes or blink them back into focus. Make sure you're subscribed for next week when we get into skill number 3, curiosity. And remember, when we approach with compassion, we seek to understand instead of judge. Thank you so much for sharing a piece of your day with me, friend. Stay present, stay kind to yourself, and I will see you soon.